Hey everyone, it's Anna. Welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for visiting. July 16th, Sunday morning, and I thought I would give you a quick tour of the garden just to show you how beautiful everything is looking. And here's a look at the outside garden beds that I put in this year. These are just flower beds. They're filled with zinnias and cosmos and sunflowers and also lots of perennials. And then this is a sneak peek at something else I've been working on. This will be a cut flower garden that I plant out next year. So just getting that space started for growing. Here's a look at some of the flowers I have on the outside of the garden. This is a beautiful white Cosmo, and she's starting to put up all kinds of bloom heads. I have some specialty yarrows planted. This one is the Summer Berries color from Proven Winners, and then this one is Firefly Peach Sky. And so very pretty. I also have Vintage Violet, and I have one called Paprika that I didn't actually take any video footage of. But lots of yarrows, so very beautiful. And then this is a specialty echinacea. It's called a Sunseekers variety, and look at all those layered petals. So pretty. This Heliopsis is new to me this year, and I have lots of other Heliopsis here, but this one is new, and it's called Burning Heart. And then this has got to be the cutest little poppy in the world. It's called a jelly bean poppy. So cute. I love all those little stripes. My specialty dahlia that I bought this year isn't blooming yet. This is going to be a totally tangerine, and it has some white marigolds planted around the outside edge. And then this is my hanging basket filled with those bright magenta petunias. There's some purple pansies in there too. This is a sombrero, I believe, echinacea, and you can see how the petals, as they age, they fade out to a lighter color of orange, and it's really very pretty. And then I have a reproduction wash tub here that's filled up with zinnias and nasturtiums and little odds and ends, lobelia and pansies. Cute little quail that Alan gave to me that I added to the garden gate. So let's take a look inside the garden. That's where I think the most exciting stuff is. This is the new strawberry bed that I put in this year, and it's been putting on berries for us all summer long, actually. We've been snacking out of it. Lots of little flowers in there that are doing beautiful. And you can see the next bed there. Looks like the front edge of that is empty, but there's actually some sunflower seedlings planted in that space. And these three beds at the end, they have some pink snapdragons planted in them. They were not supposed to be pink. They were supposed to be rocket. Was it rocket bronze? Which is not pink. But here we have lots of pink snapdragons this year. Here is some alyssum, some cute little orange poppies, and some rosemary. And then up the stake there I have a climbing scarlet runner bean. Here's a look at those new sunflowers and that fresh lettuce. There's a really beautiful dill in there. And this sunflower is gorgeous. It has put up so many stalks here. I actually tipped it once it had 6 true leaves. 6 sets of true leaves. I actually snipped the top of it, and it sent up all those extra bloom spikes. This bed is starting to get a little bit of replanting as well. You can see an open space there that I have yet to poke some seeds into, but those peas are done, and they're going to get pulled out, and I'm going to replant on that trellis. The chocolate cherry sunflowers on the backside are starting to bloom, and they look gorgeous. And of course, I had to put more sunflowers in this little end pot here. These are also chocolate cherry. I have tons of chocolate cherry sunflower seeds, so I kind of tend to poke them everywhere. This is my straw flower in the bronze color, and it is gorgeous as well. I need to snap off some of those flower heads, though, so I can maybe use them for some Christmas decorations this winter. And don't mind the snake. It's plastic. He's just guarding some new seedlings that I have planted there. And this is a look at one of the chocolate cherry sunflowers as it's open, and that bee is working over on the pollen. So pretty. This is a double hot cherry profusion zinnia, and these things are gorgeous. This one is the double deep salmon. This color might be my favorite. I just love those things. The 24-inch zinnias have started to put on their blooms. So pretty. And the taller zinnias behind them have put on their little bloom buds, but they haven't opened yet. And then here's another look at those gorgeous chocolate cherry sunflowers. That one in the corner there was a volunteer. So it's not a chocolate cherry. Grandma's garden gate is looking gorgeous. It has a tomato on the back side of it that's really producing a lot of fruit. And of course, the front side of it is flowers. There's even some black-eyed Susan vine climbing up the end of it on each side. And then here's a look at my zucchinis. And they've been putting on lots of veggies. We've been eating zucchini from the garden for a week and a half or so. And those are getting picked at the end of the day. So fun. I went with Black Beauties this year. And here's another look at those pink snapdragons. There's some of those scarlet runner beans that have grown up over the first hoop trellis, and a sunflower there planted in the middle. I think that was probably a volunteer. I just couldn't bear to pull. And then the blue flowers there, those are actually bachelor buttons. Those look really beautiful this year as well. So here's another look at the end of one of the middle beds. The zinnias have started blooming. The gomphrena, which are those little purple polka dotty flowers at the end, those have started blooming. I wish they would get a little taller. They're a little short this year. And of course, those lovely pink snapdragons. There's also a short row of cosmos in that bed that haven't started blooming yet. Here is a sweet 100 tomato at the end of that trellis, and it is loaded with tomatoes. The bees are really working over the bachelor buttons, and I love this little variety because I like how it has the purple flowers in it as well. At the end of this bed, I have a scallop squash planted, and you can see just how tall those are. The peas on this trellis too, those are also super high on that trellis. I had to get a chair to pick those peas. And then because they were done, I actually pulled them off the trellis to allow some more light to the things that are between those two trellises. I'll talk to you a little bit about that great big sunflower that I just shared in a minute, but wanted to share the end of this bed as well. Look at that great big sunflower that's growing. And then there's a really beautiful row of chartreuse green lettuce there. This sunflower is almost ready to open. I was considering harvesting it, but I haven't yet, so maybe soon. And then here is a quick run of the Sun Gold cherry tomatoes. They are so delicious, and after this video, they all got picked. These are some bronze snapdragons. I think like 3 of the snapdragons that I planted are actually the correct color. They must have been mislabeled because I did purchase them at a nursery. So they were before they were blooming, so they must have been mislabeled. This bed is out of control. There's a nasturtium in the corner that's just out of control. That gorgeous pink dahlia has been putting on blooms like crazy. There's of course snapdragons and marigolds, and there's also some sweetmeat vines in there that are putting on some veggies. You can see the blueberries there on the right. I've picked one side of the blueberries. I need to go down and pick the other side of the blueberries. Here is a look at one of those tomatoes. You can see just how many tomatoes are on this plant. It's really crazy. They're just everywhere, and it goes all the way up. It's probably at least 6 feet, if not 7 feet tall. Of course, keep in mind it's also 16 inches, 17 inches off the ground already in the bed. But here's another look at those blueberries that I need to get out and pick. I had to put bird netting over them this year. Last year the quails got most of the blueberries, so I put bird netting over them this year, and it's such a pain for me because it's just awkward to harvest. But at least I get to harvest the blueberries and the birdies don't get them all. Here's a quick look at one of the rows where you can see down through the hoop trellis. I love those things. It's so fun to walk through them. Here's the Mexican sunflower. It hasn't started blooming yet, but you can see the scarlet red runner beans. They're blooming in the background, and the hummingbirds just go insane for those red flowers. Here's a look at the Cherokee purple tomato that I have growing. This thing is loaded with fruit. I've never actually gotten this many tomatoes off of a Cherokee purple before. It's Alan's favorite, so I thought I would grow it. I've never actually had this many tomatoes on a Cherokee purple before, so I'm quite excited about that. Now this sunflower, this is one that I tipped when it had 6 set of true leaves. You can see the top of the stalk there. It was much smaller when I topped it, but what it did then is it forced those 6 branches, those 6 leaves to send up these additional flowering stakes. So instead of just getting one flower off of this sunflower, I'm getting at least 6, and they might even branch out more. This is the end bed. This one is filled with flowers, of course. It has zinnias, specialty sunflowers, some marigolds in there, and then also some statice at the end, which is really beautiful. This is another sunflower here at the end that I tipped. It was a volunteer, so I tipped it. The volunteers tend to get really, really huge, and if they don't have anything near them that's competing for soil and light, they tend to get really large, like tree-sized. So tipping them not only shortens them instead of letting them get like 15 feet tall, also makes them send up more bloom stalks. This is a yellow pear tomato, and this thing has gobs of fruit on it as well. So these should start ripening up here pretty soon. There's just so many tomatoes. I think I planted 6 cherry tomatoes, 7 maybe if you count the one up at the house, on the patio. But that will be plenty. This little bee was having a time of it with this nasturtium. It was so cute. But here you can see that beautiful nasturtium at the end there. Some of those double hot profusion zinnias, and that dahlia there has been exceptional this year for blooms as well. There you can see some volunteer dill that was actually growing outside of the garden bed. It came up through a couple of the boards, and then there's a couple of dill there that actually volunteered in the bed itself. That's fun. And here's a look at my early girl tomato. She is just starting to blush on a 1 or 2 tomatoes. And then this is what the scarlet runner beans look like once they've set seed pods. So they're really large but super delicious. And inside the seeds, the bean seeds are pink and purple. And here we are going through one of the trellises. I just love it. It's so magical, and to stand in here too, listen to the birds. It's nice and shady and cool when it's super hot outside. It's always a shady, nice place to be. Sometimes I'll just set my chair down inside here and enjoy the garden. You can see how the beans hang down off of there. So this is some of our speckled trout lettuce, and it's ready for picking. And then this tomato was supposed to be a cherry tomato. I've never grown this variety. I don't know if it was mismarked, but these are not cherry tomatoes. And this thing has so many tomatoes on it. It's unreal. Thankfully, I put it on the backside of Grandma's garden gate, so I have something nice to hold it up. This is another sun sugar, just loaded with yummy tomatoes. Looking so good. And those will get more sun now. Those are in between the 2 hoop trellises. That area will get a lot more sun now because I have removed the peas that were on one side of the trellis. Here's a look at the statice. I love statice. This stuff is so pretty. It is coming in all different colors, blues, purples. There's yellow and white. And then there's some specialty sunflowers that I planted. I think I had to plant those 3 times. The birds kept stealing them. But I finally was successful in keeping the birds off of them with those little baskets. This little hummingbird was zooming around my face, so I thought I would try and get him in the video. So cute. I have 3 feeders, hummingbird feeders down in the garden, and I have to fill them about every other day. And then we have 9 hummingbird feeders up at the house as well. So lots of hummingbird activity this year. I love this view from the garden. This is usually where I take one of the photos that I always post. This is Gomphrena, and I don't know which color variety it is, but I wish it would get taller. It's awfully short. And then this is going to be a violet giant zinnia, so that's going to be really pretty. This is another look at those 24-inch zinnias and the chocolate sunflowers, chocolate cherry sunflowers. I think they're so pretty. That one up there is open. And they all look so healthy this year. I do snip off lower leaves just to give more light to the plants that are down below. The lower leaves tend to yellow first anyways, so I like to keep those kind of snipped off. But look at the statice. It's looking so beautiful. So pretty. And then this is the end of the other garden, the end of the other row. The marigolds down there and the nasturtiums, and then I have that hedge of double hot cherry zinnias. And one of my special sunflowers is blooming. So So you can see everything's just on the verge of blooming. If it hasn't started blooming already, it's just on the verge, and pretty soon the garden's just going to be exploding with color. I'm excited for these cosmos to start blooming as well. They're going to be a nice, beautiful addition. I think that is the candy stripe variety, so that'll be fun. And there's a little bit of dill that popped up in there. You gotta love volunteers. The dill, I had to pull a lot of it this year. It would have been everywhere. So I did strategically leave a few, but this is the Hot Cherry Profusion Zinnia, and this thing is gorgeous. Here's a beautiful sunflower. I do believe this is off of one of the volunteers. And then this is that Profusion Zinnia hedge that I have at the front edge of one of the beds. So pretty. This thing is just going to put on so many flowers. I believe there are 6 plants planted there. There's a really pretty marigold at the front of that flower pot there, and it has some sunflowers in it and some cosmos, and then a red runner bean that's climbing up the pole. In the evening, I decided to take some more footage just because I wasn't sure taking footage in the morning how that was going to work, because I generally take videos in the evening. So this is in the evening now, and you can see, holy cow, those red runner beans are just going bonkers, and those tomatoes are crazy on that trellis. So let's take a walk through the trellis here this evening. You can see how many tomatoes are on these plants. There's 2 tomatoes planted right here, 1 on each side. And then the other end is the scarlet runner beans. So this end is the scarlet runner beans, and I have some other climbing beans on there as well. So when you pop out, you get the view of the beautiful flowers at the other side. That's how far that sunflower opened, just in that day. And here's a look at the evening sun coming through the snapdragons and the evening sun coming through the bachelor buttons. So cute. I also thought I would add some photos. The lighting is a little bit different in photos. So here are some photos that I took during the day as well. And I hope you enjoyed this quick tour of the garden. Everything is looking so beautiful and lush, and is growing so well, and I just can't wait. In a couple weeks, I just can't even imagine how much color is going to be down in the garden with all those flowers. So it's such a beautiful time of year. I've really enjoyed planting the garden this year and watching it grow, and I'm already looking forward to next year, especially my new cut flower garden area. That'll be super fun, and then my garden doesn't have to be taken over by all these flowers. I can actually plant more veggies, even though there's lots of food in the garden. There's just more flowers. So, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this quick tour, and I will chat with you again soon. Thanks for watching. Bye.